like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules. My life destroyed, my life destroyed. Until I walk awake, scream my mind, I shout, the ground shakes. How much can I take? My mind will break. Will it break? What can I take? Can I be your superhero? Superhero. Fly away. It's the first time of today. Today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Oh, gonna give it a shot. Only one of me to shield you all from the enemy. You're a superhero. You're a superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. 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 Can I be your superhero?
But it was weird.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I know. We have a lot to discuss today. A lot to discuss today. I'm here with your boy, producer Jack. What's going on, Jack? How you doing?
Hey, a lot of stuff happening today just with the Snyder Cut.
Good to be here today. I was having a good day. And then I got some even better news. So I'm pretty excited. But we do have a lot to talk about today in regards to some things that happened, some things that were dropped, lots of news coming out. Not news, but Ray Fisher dropped another statement. some new posters for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I figured we could talk about it.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for, look, I've been wanting to change my posters behind me. I've been waiting for official posters to come out. And, I was like, well, maybe they can't really do anything new because they filmed everything back in 2016.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't. But today's posters, both of them, one with Batman and Superman kind of leading the charge, and one with Wonder Woman. I mean, I know exactly where those two are going, right behind me. They look beautiful. They look great. I love that they're in black and white. I can't wait to talk about them. And I'm like, I tweeted at Zack Snyder, I'm like, well, where can I buy this? Because on Amazon, you got to be careful. Some people will just print it out on their home computer and send it to you.
Yeah, that's the thing about Amazon as well, is they have Zack Snyder's they have official merchandise, but I don't really know if it's official merchandise. It kind of looks sketchy to me.
Exactly, because it will say official, and you click on it, it takes you some random link. Yeah. I think it has to be from HBO or Warner Brothers, for it to be official.
Right, and that's kind of my gear towards most of it. But yeah, so welcome to TY's Corner Live. I got some news to share with you regarding the show, regarding some future guests. We'll talk about Ray Fisher's statement. We'll talk about some new posters dropped. But first off, we'd like to say welcome and thank you to anyone who is new to the channel. Make sure you are subscribed. And if you're not, if this is your first time here, or if you're returning, please consider joining the Patreon Corner. You get access to all things early, like pre-recorded content, podcasts, 15% off merchandise all year round for as many orders as you could possibly order, as well as access to a private community, Discord server, you name it, we're trying it. So yeah, the link is in the description, like I said, and we're brought to you by Bronx Bar in Philadelphia. Homeboy Jack does trivia there on Thursday nights, and he'll be also shooting his March 18th Zack Snyder Justice League pre and post show, show there. So it's going to be a really good time. It's going to be a really good time.
They're doing their job. They're going to make sure they're going to have a direct connection for us. So we want to thank Bronx Bar for doing that. So we're not doing it over Wi-Fi, and it should be kind of cool. It'll be packed. It'll be St. Patrick's Day. So I'm sure everyone will be on their best behavior behind me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Welcome, Will Diesel. That's my buddy right there. I love Will. He's a good guy. I can't say enough good things. But before we get into all the stuff to talk about today, including Ray Fisher, new posters and stuff like that, I do want to give y'all a little update. So we have the Liz Wonder interview Friday night, and then the Marcel rescheduled interview for Saturday. Also, Mark Pellegrino from Supernatural will be joining me midday on Friday, March 5th as well. So I'll be doing 2 shows on Friday. In the daytime will be Supernatural, Lost, Dexter actor Mark Pellegrino. I'm not sure exactly what time that'll be at, but he'll be joining me in the midday. And thank you, Will. And then Liz will join us at night, and we'll do the back-to-back double feature weekend. And then the HBO Max representative, social manager of all HBO Max original content, Marcel, will join us Saturday, which is ironic because his last name is Friday. I probably should have lined it up better. But,
that would have been great.
Yeah, but that's okay. So yeah, they'll be joining us. That's going to be good. And then hopefully tomorrow, Stephen Colbert will join us for Quick Dip. We have a little scheduling thing that we're trying to fix right now, but hopefully he'll be able to join me for that, or join us for that, I should say. I'm in talks with a couple other people that I'd like to get on the show. And we've been invited to a day-long thing that's not our place to reveal, but hopefully more on that in the future, or soon, I should say. But there's a really cool thing that we're doing with a group of people late in March after the Snyder Cut drops, and that's going to be really fun. And I can't wait till that news is dropped, and we're going to have a really cool guest on the show, hopefully, for that. But let's get into it today.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So first I wanted to start. Damn, I didn't label these. Oof, that's going to be tough. Let's pick one at random. Woo! All right, so new posters for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
I'm so happy that I picked that one, man.
Yeah.
I did not want to start with the Ray Fisher stuff. Woo! Oh, so what do you think of it? So you already gave us a little bit of a description on the posters, but here they are.
Yeah.
So there's one of them. It's a little repurposed. So it's the 6 members of the Justice League reassembled and put into like new. So it's not like a new picture, is what I'm saying. It's not a new picture. They took the old photography, repurposed it, and remade a cool black and white poster. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it too, but now that I'm looking at it, to me, I know this sounds stupid. Is it obvious that Superman's suit is not the black suit, but his because he did film it with the
blue,
the blue
and red.
I don't know what if it is. If it's not dark enough, maybe, but it kind of looks like it's the blue suit, just in black and white, as opposed to it change the black and then put in black and white. I don't know if that's just me being nitpicky, but I love this. That looks beautiful. I love that Zack Snyder's name is right at the top.
Yeah. And I like it with this.
complete.
So this is my favorite part about having Marcel on the show, right? Because if you look right at the top there, it says HBO Max Original.
Yeah.
Guess what Marcel does?
Yep.
HBO Max Originals.
Yep.
So we line that up without even really knowing.
Yeah.
So that's like it's worked out really cool. But yeah, so like the timing couldn't have been better. Listen, I'm kind of glad he rescheduled for last week, and now we're doing it in March because it just fits the overall like thing better.
Yeah.
But I'm really digging the posters. Let us know in the comments what you think of the posters.
I just want to know where to buy one. That's all.
I am giving away a copy of. So I gave away these yesterday. Actually, hold on there.
So yeah, folks, what I was saying was I'm trying to figure out where he's back. Never mind.
So I gave away these yesterday. I have 2 of them here. Superior Octopus, Jack Pierre and Caden, they won them. Can you answer this question, Jack? Patrick Wilson played Orm in the DCEU famously, right?
Yeah.
Who else did he play?
He was the president in Batman vs. Superman.
Damn it. Did I already ask you that question?
No, I already knew that.
All right. I thought that was like
here's an interesting
question.
fact. Who's the young lady who played who sang Hallelujah at Zach's funeral? What's her name? Alicia
Allison Crow.
Crow. Did you realize she's the girl in Batman Man of Steel was singing Ring of Fire when Clark's working at the bar?
No, I didn't.
That's her. Remember when Clark and that guy pours the beer on his head? There's a girl singing.
Yeah. Justice's favorite scene.
Yeah.
That's Justice's favorite scene.
Justice is like, oh, that poor man who grabbed the woman. Poor guy.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize that was her. Also, I've been talking to her people about getting her on as well.
Awesome.
So I got a lot in the works for y'all. So you better stay tuned, especially for the other 2 that I have in the works as well. They're going to be really fun. But yeah, so I gave these away yesterday. I didn't mean to give both of them away, but Caden and Jack both answered the question at literally the same exact time. Like I went in and I was like, all right, who answered it first? And it both said the exact same time. And I was like, God damn it. All right. So I give them both away. But I'm also giving away a copy of Sean O'Connell's book. Yes. So I ordered 3 copies, 1 for myself and 2 for the show. I'm going to be giving away the other 2 copies of Sean's book. I will ask some questions on Friday and Saturday streams. So if you'd like to win one of Sean O'Connell's books, join us on Friday or Saturday or both and try to win those. It's going to be a really good time. Yeah,
his book is already sold out. I got a funny story. I hadn't been to Barnes & Nobles in a while, but I thought I'd buy it at a bookstore to kind of help support these, bookstores. Only to discover that the place is shut down. My local Barnes & Nobles closed down during the lockdown. So I'm trying to get it through a mom and pop store just so they have the support.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. But yeah, so the posters came out today, looking really great. At least we're getting some marketing, I suppose, right? That's always the like underlying silver lining, I should say. That's a silver lining to this cloud. Getting something for Zack Snyder's Justice League, at least a poster or something. Hopefully they could turn that poster into like a commemorative cup one day when it goes into theaters or something like that.
And I noticed that like local Chicago news were doing a segment on the Snyder Cut that you know they're all under WB affiliates and everything. We need more of that. And Again, I would like for some of the actors to maybe do like Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or, Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien did a whole skit, a minute skit. I don't know if you guys saw this. He's like, if you ever know if you've heard, but they're going to say the F word. I don't know if you caught it, but there was an F word in Batman v Superman. It's Superman beat the crap out of Batman. The scene where he throws him through the building and you hear Batman. It's actually his the guy who's with him saying the F word again and again. I was like, all right, so this is getting out there.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers needs to put their pride away and market this.
Hell yeah.
It's money in the bank for them.
Yeah.
Because eventually this will come out on Blu-ray and 4K and it will sell like hot potatoes, despite what Justice says.
Justice is an idiot. Justice is an idiot. And the math you did with him was is very simple, right? So if 30,000 people, or if 3,000 people, what was the math that you did? I can't remember now. I sound like an idiot.
So basically I said, look, even if just 1 million people buy, we were talking about BVS, right? There's another version where Zack has done it in IMAX ratio. So I said, even if they sell 1 million copies, it's around, let's say between 25 and 30, let's say 25, that's $25 million in their pocket.
Yeah. Over a movie.
We know it's going to be at least 5 or 6 million. So maybe that's, even more than that. That's a lot of money they can make by reselling these. And the only reason they're reselling them and they're fixing the aspect ratio, I think Zack is fixing some of the color maybe, is because they have seen enough traffic. They're not doing this for charity. So I don't know why Drip was like, no, 1 million people aren't going to buy this. This movie's not as popular as you think. I'm like,
yeah. It is as popular as we think.
Yeah. And it's only gotten more popular since. Like at the time there was a lot of, divisiveness. Since then, most people who have seen it like it.
Yeah. But guys, so we have I want to say this before we talk about this. This is going to take up most of the show. This is going to be a conversation that I don't really like to have too often. It's going to be a racial conversation, and it's going to be about Geoff Jons. It's going to be about Kevin Tsujihara. It's going to be about Joss Whedon. It's going to be about Ray Fisher and John Berg. I say this now to you because if, for instance, you get triggered easily or you get offended, this probably isn't going to be one for you. I say that with all respect. I really do. But we're going to be talking about some things. Cyborg's genitalia comes up. It's like this really weird conversation. And I just want to warn you now, if it's not something you're interested in, maybe just go away for this stream today only because it's a real thing that we should talk about. It's apparent that Geoff Jons, especially with the Nadria Tucker, her being let go from Superman and Lois, over standing up for the same kind of deal, it's becoming more apparent that Geoff Jons is in fact a problem. People like Scott Mendelson, they don't seem to see that problem, which is really weird. Scott Mendelson is a writer for Forbes, and he studied film supposedly, but his article there's an article with Bleeding Cool that came out, and I don't know if he had a part in making it or he was involved with it or whatever, but it's very ignorant, and it's the homework wasn't done. There was a lot of
Scott has always had it out for him, for Zack.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know typically, I don't read Scott Mendelson's articles. I don't follow Scott Mendelson on anything, but what he's saying is pretty ignorant. And I figured that we could give that a look skis. So if that does offend you, or if that you don't want to hear about it, you can duck out. I won't hold it against you. But Nadria Tucker and Ray Fisher have exchanged tweets over Warner Brothers. This is not the one. These are not the tweets, but I figured I'd pull these ones up first. So Nadria's here. So these are from November 6th, 2020. Okay. And she brings up some personal news, and we'll read them together. So personal news. Wednesday, I got word that my contract on Superman and Lois won't be extended. My services no longer needed. My outline in draft subpar. Obviously, I disagree with the last bit. LOL. This is after months of me flagging Me Too jokes in dialogue, of me defending the Bechtel. How do you say that?
Bechtel? I don't know. That's a German sounding word.
Yeah, Bechtel.
Yeah.
So where am I? I lost my place. Bestel. Where's that? Bestel test of me fighting to ensure the only black faces on screen aren't villains. Of me pitching stories for female characters. There's one in the title of the series that went ignored. If I sound bitter, it's because this one stings. I've been assured by colleagues that I was great in the room, so I know I'm not nuts. I debated whether to post this, but my own mental well-being demands that I do. The only way shit changes is to expose it. And the reason I bring this up is because she was let go. So she was let go from Superman and Lois for standing up and making sure that black faces on screen weren't just villains, but they had a pivotal role in the story as well. Why would you imagine she got let go, Jack?
I don't know. But I find it, by the way, it's pronounced Bechdel test.
Bechdel,
yeah.
Okay.
German word. If I were to play devil's advocate, it's also possible they just didn't need her anymore. And this has happened where people say it's because of my race.
Yeah.
And so I even with Ray Fisher, like at first I wasn't as against it as Drip was, but I said I want to hear what was actually said, just because I know sometimes these days people are oversensitive. She may have just been let go just because they didn't need her anymore, and they might have done the same thing with a white actress. I don't know.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think it's because she was standing out. Mm-hmm. And she was advocating for to have more persons of color in the story, to have more women in the story. And Geoff Jons, let's find the other tweet. I have it here because there's more to the story. I guess I should have brought that in first. Let's see, where is it? Where did I put it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to find it again.
Okay, but yeah, this is. I think there's hesitation because Geoff Jons is involved in so much, and right now I think Warner Brothers like he's an asset, and if they can just kind of sweep this under the rug, they're hoping people will forget it. And the person who's not letting them forget it is Ray Fisher, and Ray Fisher is probably going to make more headlines once this movie comes out, because a lot of people are going to see this movie and they're going to be like, who's this young black actor? Who's this Ray Fisher? Who is that?
Right.
And once he gets that attention, Warner Brothers is going to be in an awkward position. Oh, there's our great writer, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
That's him?
Yeah, that's Ta-Nehisi Coates, yeah.
That's him?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Not a...
I can't find. So there's a tweet with her exchanging. She's talking to Ray. Well, Ray Fisher answers it. Mm. And it was so okay. It goes on to explain basically that Geoff Jons was trying to tell her what black people should act like, basically.
Yeah.
And she responded, "I didn't know that you were the authority on how black people should act." And that's the tweet that I wanted to get. But that's where Ray Fisher answered her or quoted the tweet and brought up Cyborg's genitals. And that led to him. That didn't lead to it. But then he released a statement today about all this shit, all the shit with Cyborg's genitals. So it kind of all ties together.
Yeah, and let's explore that a bit, like how black people should act. Like up until recently, black people, especially people of color, and we're talking about Asians too, Spanish people, are always kind of caricatured. And you'd always see this with the token black guy. They'll always be funny, or if it's a black woman, they'll always show her as very, sassy, the sassy black woman. The Asian guy will always be kind of nerdy, scared of women. And these are tropes that Hollywood has perpetuated. As woke as Hollywood pretends to be, or as, as diverse as they claim to be, the only time you've seen black actors, at least male actors or female actors, in roles of authority, either as police officers, and that's it. Like, you won't see them as scientists or doctors that much. You won't see them as engineers, maybe with the exception of Joe Morton, who was in Terminator 2 and is also in the Snyder Cut. So a lot of times it's been like, okay, it's not what black people are like, and this is what people think black people are like, and that's how we want you to act. We want you to be sassy. We want you to say girlfriend, or some kind of trope like that, because that's how we think people like your character to be. We haven't seen studies that show that people want to see a black actor do this or a black. So I'm surprised that still happens. And if Geoff said that, then I mean, times are changing, And we talked a lot about this in our interview with Christopher Mann. Chris Mann talked a lot about this. For a while they only cast light-skinned black women. They didn't cast dark-skinned black women.
Yeah.
We're seeing that slowly change. And I gave the example of that show, The Big Bang Theory. There's one Indian guy. He's afraid of women. He's a loser. He's a dork. He's nerdy. He can't talk to women unless there's a drink in their hand. And I made the joke. I'm like, dude, we invented the Kama Sutra. What the hell are you talking about? But then it's like, oh, that's what people like. They want Indian people to look like this. They want the Asian guy, the Chinese guy to act like this, to be, scared or insecure. And then, the black guy's got to be quippy and the black woman's got to be sassy. So, yeah, that does not surprise me at all.
And here are my thoughts.
And by the way, in his head, that's innocent. Like Tim, that's not ignorant. He's probably just saying like what he thinks, people want.
Yeah. And here are my thoughts. Like, so it's 2021. Mm-hmm. I am surprised. I really am. And, I'm a token white guy, right? Like I'm Irish and German. I'm literally like, I'm the furthest thing from colored there is. And this is coming from me. I grew up in a house that never saw the world like that. Yeah. I never looked at, granted, my best friend, right, is a black man, right? I just never saw the world as black and or as different colors. I saw it as you're a human, I'm a human. I never discriminated anybody based on race, religion, creed, sex, whatever. I was never raised like that because I myself was a little different, right? I'm not like the hugest dude that there ever was. And I always took like, you know what I mean? I was always a little bit self-conscious of myself, yada, yada, yada. But I felt for people that were a little different or that maybe felt a little different in a crowd of people that were normal, right? So I always had empathy for folks that maybe were discriminated against. Not saying I know what it's like, but I knew what it was like inside my own head to feel different. So I never grew up with that same thought process that people have, is that they look down upon, like if I was in a room with Jack or if I was in a room with Justice, that I would be the person that is greater or has more of a right. I never saw like that. And I just figured that this was a thing that didn't happen anymore. It wasn't until I got a little bit older that I realized, and when I started working especially, that I went into the workforce and started seeing that I would be favored, right? Or I would get promotions over the people that probably deserved them a little bit more, but they were different colored skin. It became more apparent that these things still happen. Like, and it was such a wake-up call for me. And like, I then, used my position that I just got over the black guy or the Asian guy or whatever it was to change. Right, to change the way it worked. I would usually actually like promote persons of color that I thought should have earned it. Right. So what I mean is I never knew how deep these battles were fought for. Yeah. Like, right. So Ray Fisher, Jody especially, and Andy Signore, they think that Ray Fisher came out at a certain time because he wanted to capitalize on
the
BLM thing. I think that it's opposite. I think that he came out because we're finally in a world where he felt safe to do so.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same narrative. It's just switched, right? Yeah. They're taking it and making it seem like a bad thing. Yeah. But I think it's a good thing. The fact that Ray Fisher spoke out and feels comfortable enough to speak out, I'll tell you what, 25 years ago, he wouldn't have.
Yeah,
he would not have, and he probably wouldn't be where he is right now. The world is changing, and people like Joss Whedon, people like Geoff Jons, people like John Berg, people like Kevin Tsujihara, Walter Hamada, they are going to be left in the dust because they don't know how to think anymore. They can't possibly lead a studio when they can barely manage themselves, right, around a person of color. They can't help themselves but discriminate. It's truly disgusting.
And, you know, a couple of months ago, I said, well, you know, it's a shame that, you know, Walter Hamada and even Kevin Tsujihara, you know, they're Asian Americans. Wouldn't they be more sensitive to this stuff? And then I thought about, you know, when I first went to Pakistan as a kid, and believe it or not, there's a lot of racism over there. You'll have lighter skinned lighter skinned people hating darker skinned people. In fact, like
really,
it's a very common thing. And part has to do with the caste system, and part of it had to do with the British.
Really?
The British were powerful, so they looked at people with darker skin as you know. And I saw, like, I remember when in 2008, I was working for the Obama campaign here in Philly, and I would talk to a lot of Asians, like in our own community, India and Pakistan. Not all of them, but some would say, "Oh, I'm not voting for that Gala." Gala is like it means black, but it's like sort of saying the word black as in black. You know, like, you know, some people use the word Jew, like, oh, that person's a Jew.
Yeah.
It's not the word itself that's bad, but it's the way you say it. And I was kind of surprised. My dad says, oh, yeah, this is very common. A lot of, like, racism and stuff like that. They don't see it that way. But, like, they're like, oh, that person's a black person, or that person's a Gala, or, you know, that person's darker skin. They don't like that person immediately. And so this is not so when you look at someone like Tsujihara, and I'm not saying that they are racist, but that kind of racism is not only limited to white people. That racism exists overseas. You know, my dad has been to a lot of East Asian countries, and he says if you're darker skinned, they just like to dismiss you because they're like, oh, you know, this person's an Indian. Well, so it's a shame because even other people of color can behave like this, and I'm sorry to say I've seen it.
I have a question. Do you think that Ray Fisher has ruined his career? Now I'm asking you because you are not a white guy, right?
Yeah.
What I think really,
but I have been accused of being one. So
the sad thing is I am the person, right, out of Justice and I am the person who is with Ray, right?
Yeah.
Justice has taken a little bit longer to get there, but he is finally there. It's interesting. I am the one who stands up or stands with Ray Fisher on this, but I'm the one whose opinion really doesn't matter. Because when I say something, it doesn't really matter because, just another white guy saying it. But what do you think about Ray? Do you think Ray has tampered his career?
Maybe, but like the circumstances are so unusual. Like this whole thing with the Snyder Cut is so weird. And I have an article pulled up that WB execs might have purposely been trying to hinder the success of this movie. I mean, if it wasn't clear to us before, but this one article is suggesting that might be true. But times are so weird right now. It is very much possible that he comes. It'll be a hard fight. It might be an ugly fight, but he might come out on the brighter side of this. If this were any other circumstances, if this were any other movie, I'd be like, he's done because no one's going to hire him in Hollywood now.
Right.
But I don't think that'll be the case. I think it might take a year or two, but.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Nadria, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to think that when you are in Hollywood, right? And this is from what I've seen and what I know about Hollywood. Once you get that label that you are deemed difficult to work with, it is hard to shake it. And it's hard to shake that now it's going to be hard for her to get projects in the future because people on the outside or who are hiring for different shows in the future, different films in the future, different studios in the future, they're going to look at it and be like, well, I don't know, because Warner Brothers let go, right, of her because she was difficult. They're not going to read into it and see that she was actually standing up for something that was right. They're just going to see the label difficult and they're going to pass her over because, no, we don't need that. We don't need that on set. Yeah. We don't need that in the writer's room. We don't need that here. We don't need that there. So, these people are standing up for what they believe in, and they're burning their career with it, but they're not stopping. And I don't think they should, right? Ray has made it very clear that he does not care if he gets another role in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I think that these are the people that we need or that we deserve at the forefront of this movement, if you will.
Yeah. And look, we know, for someone who's saying, people might say, well, he might be doing it to use his leverage. We already know that he was offered Cyborg again for the Flash movie. And he said no.
Right.
Well, he said, no, I'm not going to work with Walter Hamada. So if he was leveraging and lying, he would have just been like, yeah, I'm taking the role.
Yeah.
You know what? Me and Warner Brothers, we worked out our issues. I want to thank Toby Emmerich. I want to thank. He would have done that.
It would have been so easy for him to switch the narrative, right? Think about that. It would have been so easy for Ray to switch the narrative and be like, yeah, the investigation went well, right?
Yeah.
The investigation happens, right? A lot of people get interviewed for it. We're talking Charisma Carpenter. We're going that far back, right?
Yeah.
They get interviewed. She gets interviewed. This guy gets interviewed, right? The investigation happens. And we don't know that Walter Hamada tried to interfere with it. We don't know that at that time. We just know that the investigation happened.
Yeah.
So he could have been like, yep, it went well. I'm glad that they did it. Thank you, Warner Brothers. Now, guess what? I'm going to be in the Flash movie, yada, yada. If that's what his goal was, right? If the narratives that Jody and Andy are pushing are true, then that would have been over at that moment.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And look, it strikes me as weird how Warner Brothers is dragging their feet with this. Look, they Disney got rid of Gina Carano. That was their prerogative. But the fact is that, like, whether you agree with that decision or not is irrelevant. The fact is that studios are not taking chances with people who are going to make controversial statements because those statements could reflect the bigger company. Or it's amazing to me that AT&T has not taken some steps, because it's clear they're the ones who want the Snyder Cut. They're the ones who wanted it. Warner Media wanted it. HBO wants it. I wonder if there's going to be a house cleaning. I think they're waiting for the 18th. They don't want to fire these guys if the Snyder Cut turns out to be a dud. Oh. But if the Snyder Cut is successful, which I believe it will be if it's not already successful, I think there might be, in the weeks to come, a couple of resignations. Not firings, resignations. I
actually think
down for another position, you know.
Yeah, I think that, so Warner Brothers has, we know this now. This is all things that we know, right? Warner Brothers has been getting rid of jobs. They've been doubling up for department heads that they're going to transition into one department. Like, they've been cleaning house, right? They've been, for months now, they've been doing this. I'd say every month, at least like 3-4 people get fired from Warner Brothers, right? And then it just, you know, they consolidate it and they're merging things and yada, yada, yada. But I would be surprised if after the Snyder Cut comes out and it's successful, that we don't see a really, really hard push for a clean slate, right?
Yeah, maybe.
For and guys like Jason Kylar who actually care, right? Toby Emmerich needs to go. Walter Hamada needs to go. Geoff Jons has his name tied to a couple of things. That's it. I believe it's things like Stargirl, things like Superman and Lois, which he really only did the pilot for, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's really he's only has like legacy credits at this point. You know how like it. You know how like Chris Nolan was attached, and it says he's going to get a credit for Justice League.
Yeah.
That's the same way that Geoff Jons will get credits on certain things in the future. Like, he'll still have to get legacy credits. That's by law, right?
Yeah,
if he worked on it, yada. But I don't like. They need to cut ties with these people in order for them to move on. Like, if I was Warner Brothers, and this is a perfect world, mind you, this is a perfect world that I know I'm living in, and it couldn't possibly be real life, right? I would have admitted that I fucked up. Right? If I was Warner Brothers, I would have said, listen, you know what? We went the wrong direction. We saw that we weren't making Marvel money, right? We weren't making the money that we wanted. Zack's tragedy happens. We use that as a catalyst to usher in a new era of DC films, which is grimy in itself. But listen, from a business perspective, I understand. I get it. But that didn't work either, right? That didn't work either. Admit that you messed up. Admit that you went the wrong way with things. Admit that you've messed, you've backtracked. You need to backtrack, I should say. And you're willing to work with the fans, with the people who line your pockets with all this money, and say, we want to give you the films that you want. Like Marvel is consistently fan servicing, right? They give us what we want. That Black Widow movie, that only happened because people made it happen. People forget that the Black Widow movie was never in development, right? That was something that came out of fans asking for a Black Widow project, right? And I hate to relate it to Marvel, considering that's where this all went wrong at Warner Brothers, right? Looking across the bay, looking over at Marvel, seeing what they were doing. That's where it all kind of went wrong for Warner Brothers. Instead of being original, they wanted to be the carbon copy, and it didn't work. So admit that you messed up, and I would respect you more.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of fandoms a little bit. I mean, I'm not. How many of you guys are maybe familiar with Kathleen Kennedy? She runs Lucasfilm.
Yeah, of course.
And I know you're okay with the newer ones, but a lot of the fans haven't liked the newer films. They don't like the newer films. A lot of fans want her gone. And it turns out she herself is not a huge Star Wars fan, which is part of the problem. But then they're like, well, you know what? The fans are toxic. They won't like anything new. And then here comes The Mandalorian. Here comes Mandalorian Season 2. And fans are like, see that? That's what we want.
Right.
That's what we want. We want new characters with good stories. So, and I've heard rumors that, again, this has been reported not by official sources, but by leakers, that Kathleen Kennedy was not happy with how positive the reaction has been to The Mandalorian, especially that finale, because that one character that shows up in The Mandalorian, I still won't say it just because I know people are like waiting for, that's what fans wanted. They didn't want what we got in The Last Jedi, and to kind of piggyback on that. So I'm not too familiar with a online group called Geekosity, but they have a scooper there named Mikey Sutton.
Oh.
Now, do you know who that is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so
he's
this is according to him.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
This is him. He says he has his own sources. Again, so does Jody claim he had a source, but his source told him he was a liar. He says execs are quote unquote not impressed with the Snyder Cut, despite the positive buzz.
Whoa. Who is he saying?
He's saying that his sources sound that Warner Brothers execs are not impressed.
I've already seen the Snyder Cut, and they're not happy.
They're not happy. Now, okay. Warner Brothers execs. And this is what he adds later. Sutton claims, of course, AT&T did it, blah, blah, blah. He even says, again, this is him, saying that they dropped the news that J.J. Abrams is working on a Superman reboot last week to pivot attention away from the Snyder Cut. He also says that the revealing of the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer, that the second one that happened the same day as the Snyder Cut.
That's what I'm saying.
It seems, and again, the news to the Superman reboot has not been positive.
No.
I have mixed feelings about Ta-Nehisi Coates. Again, I said I like some of the things he says. I don't like a lot of things he does say. And I feel like by doing this, they're trying to like change attention. It's like, we're here for the Snyder Cut. We're not that. It's like, you're trying to get a kid away from you, so you dangle your keys in front of them, like, hey, look at this, and you throw the keys over there so a little kid will stop bugging you. That's not what this is. We're not going to have our attention changed. People love Henry Cavill. Yeah. We want to see him as Superman. Telling us there's going to be a new Superman, regardless of what the race of the Superman is going to be. Even if it's another white guy, I'm not going to be happy if they do another Clark Kent.
If it's another white guy, I'll be pissed, right?
Yeah.
Because that means that you're replacing Clark Kent, and I'm not happy with that. I'm not doing it. So
loosely connected to that, Danny Garcia, who is Henry Cavill's manager, tweeted, or she not tweeted, she put it on Instagram that, she knows something is coming. She didn't say it was regarding to Henry Cavill, but she signed NDAs, but she's like, wait for some big news. A lot of people are thinking that she knows something. Because remember, months ago, there were reports that Henry Cavill might do cameos in other films.
Okay. So here, the reports of months ago, this is what you're talking about, was that Henry was on track to sign a deal for 2 to 3 appearances.
Mm-hmm.
And that things were looking, we reported it, that things were looking pretty good. Danny Garcia was out there, right? Sharing things about Henry Cavill. Like it was things were getting back on track. Ben Affleck was coming back for Flash, right?
Yeah.
Things were starting to look like the DCEU of old.
Yeah.
And now, honestly, ever since the Snyder Cut got announced, things are kind of falling back off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if that was on Instagram. I'm trying to find it, but basically said something's coming. Now, she didn't say it to do with Henry Cavill, and people also have to remember she also manages The Rock. She was married to The Rock for a long time.
Awkward.
Yeah, but she's his manager now, and they have a really good relationship, and that's great. That just shows how great of a guy he is and how great of a person she is, but maybe it could be in reference to Black Adam. But interestingly enough, in that same thing, what's his name? Mikey Sutton cites that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been not a big hand, but a small hand in the Snyder Cut movement because he really wants Henry Cavill in his Black Adam movie. He wants that. And right now, The Rock is one of those few people, he gets what he wants.
Right.
Because he's so big right now.
There's a pecking order, okay? The pecking order typically runs as follows in Hollywood, right? You got your studio, right? Here's the studio. They're at the top of the food chain. What they say goes, right? They're the studio. They give you the money to make the movie. Below that, then we got executive producers and that tier. Then we have directors. Actors are down here, right? That way, like they're the bottom of the barrel, right? For as far as say goes. The Rock, though, I'd put him right here. He's one of those actors that, like Tom Cruise, or Will Smith, or those guys, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr. Those guys are they have the star power behind them. By them signing on to do a film, guaranteed that people be walking into the theater. So they do have say. And The Rock has long wanted that fight between Henry Cavill. He mentioned it in Fandom. Literally mentioned it in Fandom. Said Superman and Batman, and I think he said one other, you better be watching out for me, or something like that, right? So this has been something he's been wanting for a while.
And look, getting The Rock for DC is a big deal. I mean, I'm surprised Marvel didn't sweep him away because they have the money to be like, hey, do you want to make $60 a movie? $60 million a movie?
Right.
Play anything. I mean, they could put The Rock in anything, even a character that doesn't look like The Rock. They could make him the Punisher that sell money. Like they could do anything they want with him. But I hope The Rock is able to do it. One thing, Henry's in great shape. He needs to get even bigger to fight because Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a machine.
Well, hey, listen, people don't give him, but people don't give Henry enough credit because usually Henry's standing by himself, right? Like doesn't have too many people around him that are as big. But Henry's huge. Like obviously next to The Rock, Henry looks like you or I next to Henry. But no one's gonna get as big as The Rock. The Rock is abnormally large, due to maybe some steroids. Who knows? I mean, he's pushing 50. He's 40. He's gonna be 49 this May. Joe Rogan was like, "There's no way he doesn't do steroids," but that's okay. He's bigger now than he was when he was a wrestler. I grew up watching him wrestling. He's way more shredded and bigger. Barcy, I tried to tag you in something today, and your name didn't come up, and it really threw me for a loop. I kind of got depressed, and I went into my dark corner, and I just cried for a couple minutes. Sorry, I'm getting back to that point. No, I'm sorry. Sorry. Just kidding. But anyway, back to what you were saying. So you sent me the link for the Ray Fisher thing, by the way. I'll pull that up in a minute. What were we talking about before I started going off?
We were talking about The Rock getting too big, and Joe Rogan said he might be on steroids.
All right, Joe Rogan. And listen, Joe Rogan is an expert on all things muscle, steroid, yada, yada, yada. He tells me that there's no way that The Rock doesn't do steroids. But The Rock says, The Rock says, and if you smell what The Rock's cooking, right? The Rock says he doesn't do steroids. Listen, if you can keep the facade going all you want. I don't care that you do steroids.
Neither do I. It's not like this is baseball. Like, I don't really give a crap.
Right. Listen, take performance enhancing drugs, get huge, right? Look good because you're Black Adam. But obviously you can't go compete in like the XFL. And when you get caught for steroids, don't come crying to me because I'm not backing you up. I didn't care at the first place, but you lied. You lied, The Rock. No, The Rock's a great guy, though. I love him.
Even if he does, whatever. Hey, look, even same thing with, how do you think Hugh Jackman gets so big? Like, he's skinny in every movie, but for Wolverine, he gets like huge. You can't do that naturally.
I would not be surprised if Captain America did steroids.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Listen, it's a thing. It's a thing. Listen, if I could get my hands on them, I would do them too. Right? Yeah. I would love to be Chris Evans big. Right? I'm not going to get The Rock big. That's not my body. But hey, listen, I could turn from Steve Rogers before the serum, right? This sexy piece of ass into fucking post. I just lost my train of thought so hard. Post serum Steve. Like, I'd be okay with that. Imagine I came out of the pod and I looked like Chris Evans. That would be awesome. I'd be all for that. However, I can't get steroids, so I haven't. All right, back to it. But yes, hey, I would love, and listen, it's been a dream of mine since Black Adam was announced years and years ago to see The Rock versus Henry Cavill Superman.
Yeah,
and
great.
I don't think it's the same if you bring Michael B. Jordan in or whoever Coates wants to bring in to play some multiverse version of Superman. I don't think that fight does. I don't think that fight does justice to the fans if it's someone other than Henry.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are looking at I think Warner Brothers has their head still stuck in those 2016 numbers that BVS did, and they're like, well, look at that. Why would people want more of that? Remember, he had only been Superman for 4 years at that point. Since then, everyone knows him as Superman. He's everyone's Superman. Right now, he is the Superman, and he's still young. He's in great shape. He looks great. Why aren't they doing this? It just blows my mind. It seems like they're trying to shoot themselves in the foot. It's Warner Brothers. I don't get it. I really don't get it, because even from the capitalist in me is like, this still doesn't make sense. How many actors have had careers collapse?
Whew.
Robert Downey Jr. They're given a chance. They get back.
There's a guy that doesn't do steroids.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Doesn't do steroids.
But
That's what men look like.
Yeah. But they give him a chance. Okay, Robert Downey Jr., we're giving you Iron Man. We're only paying you some small pennies. Oh, you're good. Now you've proven yourself. We're going to give you $40 million. Hollywood is full of stories like that. I don't get why they can't say, okay, you know what? Maybe things didn't work out in 2016. Let's try it again. Let's do a take 2.
Yeah.
It does, and here's the thing: Marvel has made some duds in the MCU, and I have every one of the movies. They just move on to the next thing. Hey, you didn't like that? You didn't like Age of Ultron? Here's Civil War.
Yeah,
That'll wipe the taste right out your mouth.
Literally, you want to cleanse your palate? Cool, we got you.
Yeah.
You didn't like that? Here's the next thing. And Warner Brothers needs to take a play. So if there's the one thing that Warner Brothers does need to take a copy of the playbook from Marvel, it is their ability to move forward, right? To take the L on the chin and move forward, right? Because Marvel, listen, they're not perfect. How many movies have come out? 24, 23, 28? I don't know. Yeah. Something like that. But not every single one has been Endgame caliber, right? Nope. We do have films like Ant-Man 2, which I think is arguably the worst superhero film I've ever seen.
Really?
Right?
I actually enjoyed Ant-Man 2, but I've only seen it once, so whatever.
I think Ant-Man 2 is arguably the worst movie I've ever seen. In the MCU, I'll strike that. Strike that from the record. Jenny, strike it from the record. Thank you. But yeah, so I found it to be very boring, and I didn't care for the villain. The villain really made me bore, right? I was in the theater. I got up to go smoke. That's how bored. I've never smoked during a movie, right? Not a movie that I've been interested in. I can sit down for 3 hours and watch a film. I judge a film by if I can get up and leave and not care, that movie has not done its job, right?
Yeah.
Ant-Man 2, 3 times I got up. So I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, but my point is they weren't okay, we need to redesign the board now. I mean, I don't know. And again, I always say Warner Brothers did it because of the way fans. Yeah.
You know what people remember of Ant-Man 2? The post-credit scene.
Yeah.
That's it. No one talks about the villain. No one talks about the big Lego thing, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever he made bigger in it. It was what was it? It was like a toy car that went down the middle of the road.
Oh, yeah.
No one talks about that. They talk about the post-credit scene because it included. That's how we got to the blip for Ant-Man. That's how it happened. Yeah. Right. So out of all the Marvel has had some bad movies, but guess what? They find a way to salvage it. Yeah. Salvage whatever they can from it. So
yeah, I mean, I personally, the only Marvel movie I don't own, MCU movie that I don't own, is Captain Marvel. I saw it once and I was kind of not bored, but I was like, what am I watching? There's no characterization. There's no really interesting story. I don't know if people like Captain Marvel or not. And then I just never watched it again. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm not even going to pay for it. Maybe if I see it on sale with Justice League. But
so I did want to get to this article and I don't want to forget. So this is Scott Mendelson. Okay. So I'm going to take all of our banners out of this thing. Just give me 1 second. So this is about the inclusion of Cyborg's genitals. I find this conversation really uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Like really uncomfortable. The fact that we even have to have it is whatever. But here we go. So have you read this?
No, I have not.
You have not read this. Okay. Okay. So basically, there's a picture been going around. Obviously in Batman vs Superman, we see that Ray Fisher's Cyborg is from the waist up, I believe it was. Wasn't it?
Yeah, just barely his torsos. Yeah.
Barely his torso existed. However, in Joss Whedon's, and we were supposed to get more of that backstory in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we'll get that on March 18th. However, in Joss Whedon's Justice League, which that's a mouthful actually, in Joss Whedon's version, we don't really get a Cyborg backstory. However, there were a couple shots that were forced. And apparently one of them was setting up, or not setting up, but it included or was supposed to make audiences believe that Cyborg had genitals or something like this.
Yeah, because you actually see his legs. He doesn't look as damaged. It looks like he's got like one missing leg or something.
Yeah, which, I mean, listen, that's not what I took from the movie. Not once did I come out of the movie and say, oh yeah, Cyborg definitely had a penis. Not once did I say that.
Did you watch Doom Patrol?
I did.
That was addressed to like we were taking bets on whether you still had your penis.
Yeah.
But different Cyborg.
But listen, Doom Patrol did it well because they never introduced these characters as serious things.
Yeah.
Right? The Cyborg in Doom Patrol is completely different than the Teen Titans Cyborg. It's very much different than the comic Cyborg, and it's very, very, very much different than Zack Snyder's Cyborg. So, yeah, listen, we get the best of both worlds, right? We get the best of everything when we get so many versions of the character. So the fact that we couldn't just keep Cyborg the way it was supposed to be in BVS is beside me. But here we go. Not Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn is a great guy, but Scott Mendelsohn is an utter idiot. But we'll read his little thingy here. So Scott tweets out today an article. An article that is from bleedingcool.com. I've never heard of them. Their website is full of ads. So get ready.
They're old. They're from like the early 2000s. I remember, like they were one of those first. They were basically doing what we did, but in 2004. They're old. Like how we're starting up and we're starting our own stuff. Yeah, they're old.
Here's the thing. Barcy just said it. Joss Whedon wanted Vision to have a penis as well. Or at least,
were they going to show it? Like in a PG? I don't get it.
No, but she's correct. This is a real thing. What's Joss's obsession with android penises? Tell me this.
I don't get it. Were you going to show it? When he there he's hanging dong in a Disney movie. I don't understand. He must have one because him and Wanda were in bed together in Infinity War. So.
But listen, he could formulate one.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, and all women know that vibrators are a thing, right? So it doesn't need to be a legitimate, you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be real. It doesn't need, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's like a strap on, yada, yada. I'm getting uncomfortable now, but you know what I mean? But Vision has the ability to make those kind of things.
Yeah.
Cyborg, right? He doesn't care for it. Usually.
Well, maybe he could. He could see him make weapons with his hands.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Definitely. I get you. You got me on that. However, this is a really unneeded thing. This is Cyborg's character in BVS. Or for what we see in BVS, and then what we were supposed to see in Justice League. Cyborg is a very Frankenstein-esque monster, right? At least on the inside. He's battling demons where he doesn't know who he is. He's trying to search for what he could be, what his purpose is in life. To give him a wiener just detracts from the whole story, right? It takes a somewhat serious story and turns it into a joke. It seems like Geoff Jons, Joss Whedon, John Berg, they were all looking and searching for this comedic. They were more concerned with Cyborg's dick than creating and keeping the promise to fans that they were going to deliver a good film.
Yeah.
What's the problem here? The problem here is that you're focusing on all this bullshit, right? The racial things, having Cyborg say booyah, you're trying to get Cyborg's penis in the shot. You're focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Why don't you get the story right? Why don't you use some Chris Terrio lines? How about you use some beautiful Zack Snyder cinematography instead of Henry Cavill's lip dubbed to make it look like it was shot in 1983?
Yeah.
How about we get those things correct first? But no. But now here we got Scott Mendelson, who went to fucking film school at apparently an online college. I don't know. We don't know. So let's read the article. Let's read the post. While scenes emphasizing that Justice League's Cyborg has his private parts intact may seem gross on its face, I don't know what that means. Can you decipher that, Jack? What does this mean?
He's like, I guess.
While scenes emphasizing that Justice League's Cyborg has his private parts intact may seem gross on its face. What does that mean? Is that like a saying?
Yeah, it may seem gross on its face, like that we're talking about a penis on a character. Like while we're talking about that might seem kind of gross. That's what he's saying.
Okay, because it didn't read the correct way to me.
Yeah, it's just weird.
It actually sounds like again, don't know what we're doing here with this parentheses positive question mark.
Yeah. Maybe he's trying to suggest, just because of the culture we're in, that, you know, taking a black hero's penis away might be kind of, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I don't even know. Maybe that's where he's going with this, but. So
it actually sounds like a positive response to a very real controversy about the character within the comics community. Okay, when has Cyborg's penis ever been the source of controversy in the comic books?
Yeah. Well, here we go. This is the article. Like when you click on the article, during the panel, a black man mentioned something about the character I never considered. Cyborg is an emasculated black man. In his new 52 origin story, he lost the entire bottom half of his body. So that's where they're going with. I can see where Scott Mendelson is going with this. He's going to say that Zack Snyder emasculated a black man by taking away his penis.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you talk about looking for stuff to write an article about, and he writes for Forbes. You know, you're not writing for.
Let me get the actual article up here.
Oh my God! Like really? Like again, and I think Forbes is associated with Warner Brothers. I might be wrong.
No, I might
be wrong.
No, we looked at this last time. It's not.
Okay, yeah.
All right, let me get the actual article up from Bleeding Cool.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Okay. By the way, just be ready for it now. This is constant ads hitting you in the face, just like Cyborg's dick, hitting you in the face all the time. So don't be surprised at that. All right, so let's read these articles. Let me clear some of this junk out. Scott Mendelson, goodbye. All right. So I don't even know how to read this article either.
Yeah. I think it's just a summary. So Andrew Reeler wrote for Comics Alliance, and he's the one who said during
where do I read the article?
I don't think it's an article. It's just people talking about the penis issue.
No, there was an article that Lightcast talked about earlier.
Doesn't seem like.
Okay. I got it. So, okay, I want to point out something here. They're taking panels from comic books out of context here. Lightcast, by the way, great job today at explain. Well, so they were explaining what I already know, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm copying them, but I watched their show earlier, and this is where this all came to fruition for me. This is where I saw this is the first I saw of this. So I would like to talk about it as well. But yes, so they are in fact taking comic panels out of context, and they're forming a narrative to push what they're saying. These have nothing similar to or at all to do with what they're talking about here.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me, and I don't understand what's going on. So, all right. God. It's so hard to follow.
Again, it seems so nitpicky. Like, why even make an article about this? You know, it's just.
And Scott Mendelson is remarkably ignorant. Like I said, he worked for Forbes and he studied film supposedly. But he's taking so what we're doing here, what the article of this, what the writer of this article is doing is taking the comic panels in the article out of context. It's pretty much a lazy construct of Cyborg from the comics animated series and pushes a narrative that they want. And you know, the picture's becoming clearer, guys, right? Geoff Jons, the whole thing about Geoff Jons, everything's becoming more clear, right? Especially with the Nadria Tucker stuff. This is why we're talking about all of it, because it's all. And Ray left us with a couple thoughts that I'd like to talk about today.
Yeah.
So Ray Fisher explained or responded to Tucker about her talking about conflict with Geoff Jons on Superman and Lois. He tells us that he had dealt with a situation with Jons and Whedon, including a shot or scene dealing with the inclusion of Cyborg's genitals. Ray releases the statement today regarding this, right? And he reminds us to not let Kevin and Joss take the fall solely, and that John and Jeff were involved heavily as well, if not just as much. Guys, we have to remember that it is our job to make sure that this does not go unnoticed, right? So we need to stand up and say that we understand that that in recent or months to come, the narrative or the blame is going to be trying to get shifted on Kevin Tsujihara and Joss Whedon. And they're going to pretend like they solved the problem there. What Ray is reminding us is to not let that happen, because those weren't the only two. And we need to remember that. We need to remember what Ray is saying, because basically Ray is reminding us that the truth will continue to reveal itself. And that Ray reminds us that the blame will try to be shifted and the narrative will be trying to be pushed that they solved this issue or this racial inequality issue thing that's going on here. That's not the case. It's not been fixed. It's not done by any means. And we need to keep going and standing with these people that stand up. So, that's all I have to say on the fact.
Yeah. It's, again, it seems like they're just creating more and more controversy with themselves. And again, it's so obvious what they're trying to do. I don't get who's in Warner Brothers. There's got to be someone that's got to stand up to this. There's got to be an executive that answers to their stakeholders and shareholders and says, hey, what are we doing here? Why are we behaving this way?
Warner Brothers. Okay, check this out, right? So, what's his name? God damn it, I'm forgetting his name. It's off the top of my head. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now?
Who are you talking about?
HBO Max guy.
Marcel?
No. Leader of HBO Max right now. It's just slipping my mind.
Are you talking about Jason Kilar?
Jason Kilar. Jason Kilar released this fantastic thread the other night, and it detailed Studio 16, which used to be Studio 7 or Studio 5 or something like that. I don't know what it was. Sure. But it used to be different. Then they raised it, yada, yada, yada. But he went through this beautiful thread, right? Explaining how, Studio 16 has been, and it's been so many different things, from the ship scene in the Goonies to, scenes in Christopher Nolan films. It's been everything, right? Yeah. Warner Brothers used to be a studio that cared about its directors, its actors, its cast, and its crew. Somewhere along the lines, they've lost themselves. And this goes back to my point earlier that they need to just admit that they were wrong. They need to just admit that they were at fault. And you know how many people forgave that woman from whatever, Collider or something? She said, listen, I was wrong. How many people in the Snyder Cut movement stood up and just clapped, right? And they said nice things about her. If Warner Brothers would just do that now, I think everyone could move on with their lives.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see what happens the week. So it comes out on the 18th. I think HBO is going to wait to see the numbers, and maybe on the 22nd we might start hearing things. They were the ones who gave Chris Nolan the keys to the kingdom and said, "Hey, make your own Batman movie." And by the way, Batman Begins didn't do as well as everyone thinks it did. It didn't even earn as much as the
sleeper.
1980. Yeah, exactly. But they gave him the money. They said, all right, here's 180 million, make another Batman movie. And then he made The Dark Knight. For a while, it was one of the highest grossing movies of all time, had the biggest opening weekend of all time. It got Oscars. It dominated the box office, and that was an investment. They took a risk with Batman Begins, and they were like, oh, you know what? This didn't make as much as we want. Let's get Joss Whedon. They're like, all right, Chris, we're going to trust you with the next one and do whatever you want with the Joker, whatever. And, and it paid dividends.
Guess what? Yeah. And then guess what? We got masterpieces from them. So WB just basically what changed, Andrew, is money. Money changed them. Is they were on top of the world, right? And then Disney and Marvel came along and pretty much knocked them off the top of the food chain.
They had Harry Potter for a long time before the MCU. They had Harry Potter. That was their bread and butter. That franchise also seems to be going nowhere with these Fantastic Beasts movie.
You know what? The Fantastic Beasts movie, I like them. I
like them too. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but I enjoyed them.
But I don't think Harry Potter was right. That was, for some people, that's everything.
Yeah.
Right. Those 8 movies were everything. Right. And Warner Brothers was riding high when they were on movie 3, they still had 5 movies to go. Right. They were raking it in. They were cleaning house.
Yeah.
What's up, DC Talk with Extended? So happy you're here. But they were riding high. They were cleaning house. And somewhere along the lines, that stopped. That was done. Harry Potter was done. So, then they obtained DC Films, yada yada yada. Well, not then, but then they switched gears and they were like, the superhero genre is really big now. So let's get into that game. It didn't work out so well in the beginning, but they were envying Marvel for being the box office killers that Marvel are. And they got greedy. They got jealous, what are the 2 worst things to be? Greedy and jealous, right?
Yeah.
Those are the
It makes you irrational. It makes you irrational. And right now,
irrational.
They're now behaving petty with the moves they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Blatantly obvious. It seems like they're so petty that some executives might be wrong. I mean, it's like, you try to, usually if you're so jealous it shows, then you kind of hide your face in shame and try to recover. It seems like they're just going down this bit. They're swallowing this bitter pill and they're drinking an ale of beer with it.
They're like the kid who gets his ass kicked and he gets up and he's like, yeah, that's right. Walk away. Right after the dude that just kicked your ass is all walking away, and then he turns around and he's like, "Wait, what'd you say? Wait, what'd you say?" And then he comes back, beats you up again.
Yeah.
And then Warner Brothers gets back up, and they're like, "Yeah, that's right, your mother." And then that kid comes back.
I can do this all day.
That's Warner Brothers. But thank God their big brother AT&T came back to pick them up off the ground. To let them know that they're an idiot, and hopefully AT&T can do a good job of reclaiming what once was the Warner Brothers, right? Yeah. The Warner Brothers studio was a staple, and it is always will be a staple of cinema studio and film studios. They've just lost their way, and we're in the middle of this ugly transition period.
Yeah,
it's like honestly, it's like my hair. Look. It's in this ugly transition state between the terrible haircut that I got and my normal hair, right? Lots of comparisons being made today.
Yeah.
Jenny, strike it from the record. Yeah. So anyway. I'm
curious to see what happens at the end of March. I'm just curious to see what happens. My worst fear is that nothing happens. Like there's all right, you got your movie, we're moving on. But
I do have something I want to show you.
All right.
Well, it's not something you haven't seen before, but I had a mishap last night. I found out that a lot of my stuff was gone. So here on March 31st, place is awesome. Sorry, I need to catch my breath, man. Whew. So I needed to use that as an excuse. But yeah, so March 31st. Well, you say it so I can get more of my drink.
Look, folks, March 31st, what we did back on Christmas Day with Wonder Woman 1984, we're continuing our work with Showcase. This is going to be the first of many movies. We'll be doing pre- and post-show reviews live from Showcase Cinema. We'll be using their X Plus screens, and this took a long time to get done, but we're partnering with Showcase. We're the only podcast doing this that I know of.
The only one that matters.
The only ones that matters, yeah. Let's see Jody get this done. Yeah. They probably would have to put him in a corner.
But go ahead, put baby in a corner.
His
but
beard.
yeah, listen, I'm super excited about it, man. We did.
Do you think when Jody eats popcorn, his beard goes into the popcorn thing?
100%.
Like
100%.
Keep doing this.
And, but the good thing about when his beard goes into the popcorn is it gets greasy, and then he can make it like a villain's beard where it like curls and stuff because that's greasy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I hope this succeeds because every show he does, like, I can't wait for this movie to come out and fail. I'm like, oh, man.
But yeah, it's gonna be a really good time. March 31st live, right here on YouTube. It's gonna start roughly at 12:45, 1 o'clock, with a break in between, just like how we do all the other. Like we'll do the. If you're looking for the way it will run, the same way as a Snyder Cut Day, where we'll have a break in between so we can see the film. It's going to be a great time. Sponsored and shot at Showcase Cinemas.
Showcase Cinemas, yeah. This is going to be cool.
5 largest theaters in the country. It's going to be a good time.
And it's in the UK also. So, folks, go to showcase.com and look up your local Showcase Cinema. Show your support. If you're young and you're healthy and you're in contact with with elderly people, go to the movies.
Yeah,
just go to the movies.
So basically what we're saying is support your local theater. Even if it's not Showcase, go support your local theater because they're doing things to keep you safe. Your focus should be on the film, not on COVID-19, and that is what they're doing for you. So take advantage of it. Guys, that's really all the time we have for you today. But tomorrow, I'll let you know. I'm pretty sure Stephen Colbert is going to be joining us from Screen Rant, not from the late night show.
Yeah.
Is that
That'd
Jimmy?
be cool too.
Is that Jimmy Fallon?
No, I don't know
Stephen
what Colbert
Colbert?
is. I think it's just called The Late Show.
No, the Colbert Report.
It's called now it's just The Late Show. He replaced Letterman. So
okay. I don't really keep up with those late shows.
Yeah.
There's
I only watch the clips. I only watch clips.
19 of them. You know who pisses me off is that guy Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah, he's terrible.
He's
awful.
God, I can't stand Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
The one thing about Jon Stewart was he called out BS on all sides. And Trevor does call out some stuff, but he just is so one-sided about things.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to watch it since he joined.
Yeah, no, for sure. But guys, let's go through the lineup one more time so you don't forget it. Tomorrow, Quick Dip will start at 7:30 p.m., 6:30 Central, hopefully with Stephen Colbert. Then on Friday, midday, Mark Pellegrino from Lucifer. My God. From Supernatural.
Played Lucifer in Supernatural.
He played Lucifer in Supernatural, and he played Jacob in Lost, and then he played Dexter's girlfriend's brother in Dexter.
Husband. So, he was her ex-husband.
Ex-husband, brother, cousin, and then we'll be talking tomorrow about his new project, which he will be able to tell you tomorrow, Friday. So that'll be Friday. Then Liz Wonder will be the Wonder Woman cosplayer. She does a lot for charity. She's great. She will be joining us on Friday night, and then Saturday, the big one, or the new one, I should say, will be the HBO Max social manager for all HBO Max originals. Will join us on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then on Sunday we're off because that's the day off now. So and then we'll pick it back up on Monday. I hope
unless something crazy happens, like
a
new trailer gets released or something. You know.
But we're also still working on the Snyder Cut documentary. Episode 1 should be dropping soon. There has been some changes, we think, but that's nothing that we didn't anticipate. So Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you become patrons and join our private community. Strike it from the record, I said. All right, guys.
All right.
I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow.